Welcome back, dear listeners, to another wonderful episode of Queer Gals Watch the West Wing. Leigh Douglas, how are we?
Spring has sprung.
Honestly, the blue skies today, and I felt like everything was possible.
Also, I went to Pilates this morning, and the lady who owns my Pilates studio was like, "Well done, Leigh, you've been really consistent." And I was like, thanks, it's because I'm dying inside, but at least I will get my toxic Khloe Kardashian revenge body.
Yes, and the thing is that at the end of the day, I just want someone to tell me I'm doing a good job.
Exactly.
So this last weekend, it was the marathon in Brighton, and I had a couple of pals running in the marathon, and they did amazingly well. So proud of them.
So proud.
You know, I love to support a marathon. I love cheering along with people. I love seeing people do their best.
Could never be me. My place is firmly on the sidelines.
Now, this is the thing, is at the end of a day supporting people running the marathon, immediately you're like, maybe I should run a marathon. And I said this, and my partner went, I just think you want people to tell you that you've done a good job and that they're really proud of you.
You've done a good job, and I'm really proud of you.
Like, thank you. Thank you.
But also, your joints are dust.
Oh, God. But the thing is, I don't want to do a marathon. I want to be like doing something and like hundreds of people who I don't know to be like, keep going. You're amazing. So, yeah, I was red for filth because essentially my partner was like, you just want to be praised. And that's just you. You're a Virgo. You just want everyone to tell you that you're doing really well.
And this is why we're best friends, because I'm a Capricorn and I also want that.
And I thought you'd enjoy that little fact, Leigh.
Should we get into Series 4, Episode 9 of The West Wing, Swiss Diplomacy?
Let's talk about the Swiss. There's several countries in this episode who are kind of getting red for filth by Jed Bartlow, frankly.
By Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah. So let's hop to it. And we'll get into Swiss diplomacy. The previously on here is John Hoynes, baby.
Hoynes heavy.
Hoynes
heavy.
Little side order of Sam running in California, but we're mainly with the Hoynemeister. Oh, Leigh, that's not that funny. That's not one of the funniest things I've said. You've given me far too much with that. That's really taken you.
It's because his name is Hoynes.
Yeah. The Hoymaster. Ahoy, Captain. But we're back. We're post-election. I don't know how far we are.
Like, are we in the second term?
I think surely, like...
Are we in the in-between? Because we've not had our Christmas episode yet. Because obviously the election happens in November.
Yeah, I think we're in the in-between.
So I think maybe next step will be our Christmas ep. That would make sense.
I mean, usually we do get a Thanksgiving one as well.
That's
which
so
I'm guessing
true.
we've missed out on because of the election.
Yes.
Gutted. But that does mean that we will likely be being skewered by an emotional Christmas episode at some point, because Aaron really loves to drive in the dagger.
He loves to go for that Emmy on a Christmas ep, doesn't he?
He honestly does.
Yeah, he's just the kingmaker going like, who will I get the Emmy for this year?
Jed has got pep in his motherfucking step.
He's ready to go. He's feeling feisty.
This is such a high-paced, like, cold open. He screams for Debbie Fitterer. Like, he just screams like he's in some sort of, like, sitcom from the 70s, like, Debbie!
Have her beheaded for my birthday.
So good. You just know that Martin Sheen was like loving this day of filming.
Loving being like, having Lily here. It's a joy. It's a pleasure.
We're all doing great work today, guys. It's very Gilmore Girls pacing, I feel, at the top of this episode. Everyone was talking very fast and all about different things. Multiple points in this episode, I was like, I have no idea what's happening.
Just a little plug. I, in my post-breakup frenzy, have ordered myself a print of the town square of Stars Hollow for my home.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's a very well-known town square. It's used in many TV shows. I've been there.
Including The West Wing.
For New Hampshire, for Jed's hometown.
Correct. So it's kind of a double homage.
Double homage. That's a good drag name.
But to the Swiss ambassador?
Yes.
Who has zero sense of humor. I just love that we're immediately reading the Swiss for filth, for being I'm going to go ahead and say, and I don't think it would be offensive to the Swiss to say, the least comedic nation.
I think that that's fair because I think they're being portrayed as people who aren't plugging for humor. Whereas I would say, and I have only met a very small select group of people from the Netherlands. And I would say that I don't get a Dutch sense of humor. However,
I find the Dutch very funny.
Yeah, I think it's because they're so blunt.
Maybe that is it.
That I'm scared that they hate me, but they're laughing. So I'm like, is it with me or at me?
I don't know if maybe I just find the Dutch funny because they've just said something really blunt and they didn't intend to be funny.
Ah, I see. Yeah, there was a group of Dutch people in the pub where I worked the other day, and they were really done. The moment they came in, they were like, this bitch is a fool. But that's maybe just some trauma of my own. So the fun storyline that we're having this week, which I actually think is very interesting, is that the Swiss have arrived to essentially ask Jed so the Ayatollah, the Iranian Ayatollah, his son has a congenital heart disease. He needs a very specific surgery. He needs a heart transplant and a lung transplant. And essentially that can only be done in 2 countries, in Japan or in the US. And the US currently are the only country that have successfully done a joint heart and lung transplant. And so the Swiss are kind of running this process to be like, would you accept the Ayatollah's son as a patient and allow him to come and have this transplant? Interesting. Everyone is busy.
I've had it up to here with the Welsh.
What's going on here?
Toby has a thing about the Welsh. This is the second time in, I'm going to say 3 episodes, that Toby has brought up the Welsh.
Yeah, right? It was the Welsh nurse.
Dare I say, the Welsh, I would argue, are one of the least irritating nations.
Quite honestly, like, very welcoming, very affable, very funny, very kind, know how to have a good time, that's for sure.
And what do the Welsh have to do with the minority leader?
Frankly, nothing. Another phenomenal read from Donna Moss.
You are the reason there are term limits, which is correct, because Josh is getting too big for his boots.
He is riding high on the success of the election.
The come down that Josh is going to have when Bartlett is no longer in power.
Yeah, well, I think this is something that later in the episode, when he's having his big argument with John, I think we get into.
Yeah.
So I would love for us to reopen that thought.
We're lame ducking.
Welcome, Karen Kroft.
Intrigued by Karen Kroft.
Karen is here to have a meeting with Toby. There's real energy between the 2 of them.
It kind of felt like, have you guys fucked?
Right? There feels like there's some history there.
It feels like...
Like, that's not just me, right?
It feels like, were you Toby's post-divorce rebound? Like, what's going on?
Was there just like a couple of dates one time? And then we just left it as friends?
Yeah.
But he's like, hey, Karen, you didn't successfully get reelected as Congresswoman, but we're going to find you a job. You love the outdoors. She says I didn't write it down, but she's like, I love dirt. And I connected with that, frankly.
It's very you-coded.
Thank you.
She's an outdoors woman.
And he's like, hey, do you want to like run all the state parks? And frankly, I was like, this is a perfect job for Karen. It feels amazing. But then I think this doesn't feel like an important storyline. Why are we watching this scene? I imagine this will come back around later. We bump into Carol and CJ in the corridor.
Yes.
And CJ says to Toby, I think Andy is about to get sued for election fraud.
I think Andy was trying to get sued for election fraud.
Really?
Yeah, she's a pistol.
And then he sort of strides onwards and CJ and Carol...
The look that is exchanged. There is knowledge. There is eyes alight with gossip in that look. There is a look of, we're going to talk about this later because we have been discussing Toby and Andy.
More information has come to light.
To California.
To California. we're kind of at a little press moment with Sam where he's like saying, yeah, I'm officially running.
Yes.
And then he's like, hey, Will, do you want to talk? And then Will says, yeah, so this is the team that Sam's going to have. This is who's running the campaign. This is who's in charge of media, yada, yada, yada. Not naming himself on that list.
Will, you can't leave. You can't go. You can't leave Sam on his own.
Sam I feel like Sam was like, I'm only going to do it because you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then Will's just like, I'm going to take a holiday. Maybe I'll go to Wales.
What is going on with Wales?
So I'm like, did Aaron meet a Welsh person and does he have beef with them?
Did he go to Wales for the first time?
And was like, what's going on? Wales, beautiful country.
Did he learn of the plight of the miners?
Potentially. And
vis-a-vis some Margaret Thatcher research.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's possible. So when it was Bush's inauguration in 2001,
yes,
Charlotte Church sang at the inauguration. This is such a fun fact. So she's like a kind of child star, basically, and famous Welsh woman. Sings for him. And apparently when they met and like shook hands and stuff, he asked her what state Wales was in. So I wonder if perhaps those details came to light and Aaron Sorkin was like, I'm just going to mention Wales as much as possible in the next season of The West Wing.
What a woman, Charlotte Church. Like, can we just a moment for Charlotte Church?
What state is Wales in then? Oh my
What a queen.
Oh my goodness. So maybe that's got some origin to it. So if Will Bailey is going on holiday and he's not going to be part of Sam's team, do we think he's coming to the West Wing?
I think we may be setting up for Will Bailey to be the new Sam.
I think that's what we're teeing up here.
Yeah.
A little walk and talk.
Yes.
Really bombastically perplexing stuff here between Jed and Leo.
Sometimes I think Aaron Sorkin is just whimsical for the sake of being whimsical.
Yeah, and I'm not against that, honestly.
No.
And honestly, in Year of Our Lord 2026, I do need whimsy.
Oh, 100%.
We had a couple of cats when the kids were kids named Mr. Finch and Mrs. Wilberforce or something. I can't remember.
I never really liked human names for animals.
Really? Okay, well, I can't believe my kids didn't think to ask you what to name the cats, but they used to bring mice into the house and show them to me.
Yeah?
This is how I'm starting to feel about the Swiss.
Just true. Referring to the Swiss as house cats is maybe the funniest that Aaron Sorkin has ever been.
And the kind of figurative mouse that's brought to the door of Jed Bartlett is an unwell child of the Ayatollah. We go from the Oval Office into the sit room to discuss the situation with a good kind of a full collection of people, and everyone's fired up, you know. Everyone's kind of giving a lot of intel. Jed quiets the room and goes, tell me about the boy.
Brings it back to the humanity of the situation as always.
I love that, skewering everyone. And then he's like, how old is he?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, he's 15. And suddenly with that one question, Jed changes the entire vibe in the room.
Go get the boy.
Go get the boy. I feel like, one, this could go badly, but two, why do I feel like Abby is going to do the surgery?
I felt the same way. I was like, why are we bringing Abby into it?
I was like, okay, so we need a heart surgeon. Well, there's one just upstairs.
I think we might know one of those.
Wow, we're going to go meet Josh's old boss. He is raging.
Yeah. The fight for the election in 4 years has already begun.
What's the name of this guy? Because he has a really great surname. Triplehorn.
Oh, yeah. Really
What
good.
a surname.
What a surname.
A surname. So we go and see Triplehorn. He is absolutely violently angry.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, okay, Jed's on his second term, which means he can't run again. Mm-hmm. Which means that essentially the Democrats are going to start thinking now about who would be a good candidate in 4 years.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's like 3 days after the election, so we should be planning on this. And Triplehorn is incandescent because apparently Hoynes is like already getting people in his pocket.
Yeah.
This guy hates Hoynes.
Don't we all?
I mean, if you're pushing me, yes, I do.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense to me from a character perspective that Hoynes is already like gagging for the next election.
And also, I think there was a big conversation about like kingmakers from kind of the era of, if we recall Vice, from kind of the era of George Bush Sr. through like people at the time thinking that Dick Cheney was going to be the next big thing, and then that not working. And then so him being kind of then brought in under George Bush Jr. and that whole kind of king-making vibe of like, who is going to be anointed next?
Yeah. Who's like going to get the like squeeze on the shoulder, you know?
It is interesting to me that we're having this conversation in this episode about like whose turn it is. And it's like, well, it's a democracy, so it's no one's turn.
It's no one's
just
turn.
Actually who the people want, but fine.
Hi, Margaret.
Hey, love you, Queen.
Love you, Margaret.
Hey, Diva.
She's just trying to organize some meetings for Leo. It's very funny because she says the word recession. He's like, what did I say about not saying that word in this building?
Which is very funny because my granny in 2008 had a jar that anyone who said the word recession in her home had to put €1 in.
That's such a good system.
Yeah.
Icon behavior. News in, we do have to take the parks job away from Karen.
Of course we do.
Which
of
is
course,
gutting.
She wanted it too much.
She wanted it too much because it's now subject to Senate approval. So we can't actually offer it to her. This is just a very busy day.
The paint on the election isn't even dry and it's already a nightmare, which is what I keep thinking about US politics currently is like, even when and if a Democrat gets back into the presidency, there is going to be so much detangling and like rebuilding to do that I feel like we're not going to even be able to like, I can't anyway.
No, that's the thing. It's like the first 4 years, you're doing nothing but damage limitation. You can't actually, and then the argument's always going to be, well, you didn't do anything.
Yeah. Which
some might say we've already seen happen.
And the first administration now looks like child's play. But anyway.
Honestly, who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thought we'd be like, wow, I'd do anything just for a week, like in that administration. The line, if we're going to fail, I want to do it on budget, really cut me to my core.
Really, really dark stuff, yeah.
And then a little bit more nonsense and whimsy from Jed towards Charlie.
Calls. Mr. Sarcasm with your dry calls. I was this close to naming one of the oceans after you, but no. Maybe one of those species of fish, like trout. Trout is now Charlie. Went to the lake, pulled out a couple of nice Charlie for dinner. Look at the size of that nice Charlie you've got mounted on your wall.
Thank you, sir. Now, we're in the Oval, and news comes in essentially that because the Ayatollah's son is coming to the States to have this life-saving surgery, the Ayatollah is now kind of like making some threats and claims. There's some stuff going on with some weapons testing that the Iranians want to do. This information causes Jed to like smash a book onto his desk and then storm out into the kind of the walkway outside the Oval and like stand for a while.
Yeah, and it's very specific to me that it's CJ who has to deliver this news to him. And we love Jed, and I'm not saying that we don't love Jed, but I do just feel it's so specific that he had that kind of a physical response when it was a woman that was delivering the bad news to him. I don't see that if it had been a male member of the team delivering that bad news to him, that he would have felt comfortable having like a physically, like, I know it's on an inanimate object, but have a physically kind of violent response.
Yeah, I do agree. I think, because you're like, oh, it's really stressful. I think Jed always gets much more emotional when it's about parents and children.
Yeah.
And I think in his opinion, he's like, your son is ill. You're his father. Why are you using this as an opportunity to spin something politically? This should be about supporting your child, which is backed up by quite soon after that, Jed using the phrase bite me to Leo. honestly, there's such a lot happening in this
There's
episode.
so much going on.
We're back discussing the fact that like Hoynes has kind of already done some like courting of support. And this is when Toby says the thing that you discussed earlier when you said,
Yes.
you know, it's not about turns.
Toby, I couldn't have said it better myself.
There aren't any turns.
Yeah. Which is an important thing to remind Joshua Lyman of.
Yeah.
There may come a time where Joshua Lyman is not a man on the inside.
Yeah. And that's just a reality. I think
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, Josh.
I think it's interesting because I'm like, okay, Hoynes was pissed off when Jed kind of came out of nowhere as a candidate. He then accepted running as his vice, which we know was a bitter pill for him, but it was under the promise that it would be 1 term.
Yeah.
There was then the conversation about the fact that it's going to be 2 terms. It just feels very petty to me that like we're days out of the election and Hoynes is already like, it's my right.
It's so male, I feel.
It is.
But also, it kind of is in a way adorable because I feel like Hoynes is like, I'm going to miss my hot JFK years.
Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it?
You know what I mean? It's like, history won't remember me as hot.
I don't want to be old when I'm president.
Exactly, yeah.
Sidebar, Toby is fighting for Karen. He's like, I've got to find Karen a good job. We'll come back to that. The update on the Ayatollah's son is, we don't have a doctor. I wonder where this could possibly go. We summon Charlie to summon Abby Bartlett. She's with the Women's Caucus.
Well, put on a helmet and pads and get in there.
I love that. That's funny.
This is when I became convinced that Abby was going to end up performing the surgery.
I thought that for a while of this episode, I have to admit.
And that would have just been too Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I'm
for it to
glad
be like,
that that's not what's happened.
To be like, I'll do it.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, yeah. So Jed goes to go and talk to Abby. And again, this is a weird thing.
Does he get the name of Abby's aide wrong?
Yes.
Ugh.
And then the woman's like, it's such and such. And then walks out the room and he's like, yeah, whatever. Like,
Very unjed.
very, very unjed, right?
Am I dreaming or are you talking to me about foreign policy? Are you not worried the sky is going to fall down?
No, but I'm concerned about spousal abuse. I love them.
Yeah.
So there's a really fun scene that I thought was super interesting. So basically, there is a doctor in the States that could do it.
Yeah.
But he is someone who, his family fled Iran and came to the States. So understandably, that doctor said, I don't wish to treat this patient.
Yeah.
And Jed's kind of updating Abby with this situation. And Abby reminds Jed that actually, as a doctor, you don't get to choose who you treat.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. And
Yeah.
the way that it's really nice to hear Abby like talk about her job.
Agreed. And not in a context of I'm scared I'm going to lose it. Just we're like literally just looking at her professional acumen
And like
and knowledge.
skill sharing with her husband, being like,
Yeah.
well, this is context you don't have. Let me give you that
Yeah.
context.
Mm-hmm.
And like seeing them pick each other's brains. I really enjoyed the scene. She's super helpful. And then he says, all right, go back to your sewing thing.
I'm sorry, the Women's Caucus?
The sewing thing? This isn't the first time, right? Like we did reference a women's caucus before, and like it was some sort of crazy joke was made about it
Correct, yes.
in a previous season.
Correct.
Why do we hate the women's caucus?
Because it's funny to laugh at feminists.
I forgot. Ha ha.
Ah ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha. Ha
Ha
ha ha.
ha. John Hoynes.
Correct. Let's go.
Josh goes to talk to Hoynes. We know they have a backstory.
We know they have a backstory. It's a difficult power play. Because it's like, who has the power in the situation? Obviously, they used to be in a very clear hierarchical delineation of Hoynes being Josh's boss.
Yep.
Now Hoynes is the VP. Josh works for the president, But also, Hoynes is still the VP. So it's like, who is telling who what to do here?
And also, like, what's acceptable in terms of, like, how we speak to each other?
Crazy.
Because they are going at it.
Yeah.
You've got a constitutional obligation. That comes first.
Last time I checked, my constitutional obligation was to have a pulse.
That's damning from Hoynes about himself. Whoa, buddy. You need to go and work on your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Honestly.
We've got some bitterness going on
just
here.
Just a tad. Just a touch. Yeah. just a little touch. Now, the thing I found very interesting, and I'm so glad you also flagged it in the shared doc, was this moment. It's our last chance to govern, John.
Mr. Vice President.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Vice President.
What have you been up to besides taking photos with volleyball teams, John?
And looking at quilts. Look, we know it's a tough job.
Yeah, it's a tough job. It's a thankless task. But you could have said no.
You could have said you didn't have to run a second time.
No.
Could have had a different vice for the second term. You know?
Hey.
There's another incredible read from John Hoynes in this scene.
No zealot like a convert, Josh.
Oh.
It's like it really cuts to address the fact that Josh like used to be his man.
Like you were my guy. You were running my campaign. We were going to do it together. Oh.
It reminds me of when I thought about changing Irish dancing schools and I decided it would be too political, so I just quit Irish dancing.
Oh my God, Leigh. No. No.
It's very political, Fiona. It's very political.
True, though.
You can't just change dance schools.
I'd say that this is exactly the same as that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the scene, there's a very interesting nugget of information. So at the start, they're like basically making small talk about the fact that Hoynes has just taken a vacation. And Josh is like, oh yeah, like Hawaii this time of year. And after they've had a big shouting match, Hoynes is like, and by the way, you don't even know anything about me because I didn't go on a holiday to Hawaii. I went rafting. So like, you don't even know me.
Which I'm like, okay, I don't know that this is the read that you think that this is, John, because of all of the information that Josh Lyman as Deputy Chief of Staff has to hold in his head, I don't know that your personal vacation plans are top of the list. All he really needed to keep in his head was that you were on vacation for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And therefore, only reachable in case of emergency type of thing.
Yeah. We'll come back to the importance of John's holiday. Because we're going to go to Debbie, waiting for Jed to have a meeting. And the meeting is with said doctor, who has previously said he would like to not do the procedure.
Yes.
And he has accepted a meeting with Jed, which I think is very nice. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't say no to the president, can you?
No, you
kind of have to take that meeting, don't you?
Yeah.
The scene between the doctor and Jed is sensational. So well written, beautifully acted by both actors.
Yeah.
Like a really interesting and like calm and frank conversation between two men.
Yeah. And I think the doctor is afforded real humanity, which I appreciated.
Agreed.
He's not just painted as someone who's like just an immigrant or just a political zealot, or he's allowed the complexity of humanity, which I appreciate.
And I also think it's important that we see from Jed him being like, I acknowledge what your family suffered.
Yes. And there's real dignity, I think, in referencing his father's profession and his work. You're not just, his father isn't just a refugee who came to this country. He was a teacher. Yeah.
And I think also that Jed's like, I have found out information about you.
Yes.
I've not just called you here to tell you to do something. I have found out about you and your family. And actually, I'm not telling you to do anything.
Yes.
We're going to have a conversation. I would just like to share my side with what I think would be helpful. And you go away and you make that decision for yourself.
Yeah.
Really great writing.
Presidential.
Honestly, some might say scenes like that are a really good example of what you'd expect from a president.
Correct.
Quick touch base. Josh and Leo catching up about Hoynes. And we're like, oh, if he was rafting, how on earth had he been making those phone calls? Therefore, was someone doing it on his behalf? Or has Triplehorn been like stirring up trouble? Being like, oh yeah, Hoynes has done this, but actually he hasn't.
Or did he go on vacation at all?
Right. So there's a little mystery afoot. Toby's taking Karen out for a meal.
Appreciate that.
Why are they going out for dinner?
I do think this is a respectful thing from Toby. It speaks to them having some kind of personal relationship. It does.
Yeah, like they've worked together before or...
But I think it's very easy for maybe some of our more misogynistic views to come out when a woman has been in a losing position at work. And so I appreciate that Toby at all times is affording Karen her dignity despite the fact that she just lost an election.
Yeah.
And he's taking some time to invest in her as a person and as a professional, which I loved.
Yeah, gorgeous. But there's history there.
For sure. There's something going on.
Something going on. Sam's back from Cali. We close out...
Oh, God, I don't know that I can talk about this exchange.
I know. So we close out this episode with a really, really gorgeous moment between Jed and Sam. They're both such earnest individuals. I was deeply moved.
I was also deeply moved.
May I be Bartlett?
Always.
It's okay to run away from me when you need.
I would never, Mr. President. I would simply never do that. That's not how I'm getting votes.
I appreciate that, but that's not what I'm talking about. You disagreed with me on Medicare. I remember the meeting right here. Then you wrote a 5-page memo. Run towards yourself. No, I'm wrong about that. Walk. You're not going to be used to your surroundings.
Yes, sir.
You lose, you lose. But if you waste this, I'll kill you. I'll just kill you, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, Sam.
It's the, if you waste this, I'll kill you.
Yeah. It's okay to run away from me when you need to. Run towards yourself.
And it's interesting because I wonder if we're meant to be comparing this to Josh and Hoynes, of how Hoynes has responded to kind of his guy going on to bigger and better things versus how Bartlett is responding to Sam doing the same.
Yeah. That's interesting. The final piece of information we get in this episode is that actually all of the endorsement phone calls were Jed.
Yeah.
And him talking up Hoynes. And Leo's like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, God, I wish that Hoynes knew that.
Because Hoynes is just like that bratty sister that is absolutely convinced that her sister is the golden child.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's like they're like the Fleabag sisters.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. No one ever talks about me. It's like all we do is talk about you.
Yeah.
That's such a good take. All in all, strange episode, deeply mid-season, I feel.
Yeah.
It was just like we needed an episode where everyone was just doing stuff.
We needed like a back to school episode.
And like there was a lot of this episode which was just kind of like walk and talks in corridors about like what was on the agenda that day.
Yeah, it just has a bit of a Monday morning feeling to it, the whole episode. It just feels like everyone's like a touch hungover.
Yeah.
But also like, fuck that thing.
Yeah. So it was nice. It was nice to see people back at work and like us putting our game face on and like diving into the new administration. But yeah, I'm kind of feeling like it's sort of teed up some stuff, but also not really. So I feel intrigued to know what our like next big multi-episode arc story might be.
I fear that we're never going to learn about CJ's stalker.
No. Why?
We're just never going to know.
He was in the building.
Yeah.
He was someone she knew and we've never been told.
It's crazy.
Oh, for God's sake. To the quick fires, Leigh.
Best fashion. It wasn't really a fashiony episode.
No, it was like a kind of very much everyone in work mode. I mean, Karen was wearing quite a nice sort of like pale blue suit, which was quite nice.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like it was also kind of laundry day.
Yeah.
We used all our good outfits.
Truly. Everything's at the dry cleaners.
Yeah. The queerest moment that never intended to be queer.
I think Josh and Hoynes fighting like ex-lovers.
Truly.
Yeah, right?
Truly, yeah.
There's a touch of the like, you said you loved me.
Yeah.
About it. Pick me. Choose me.
I do just kind of need to say to Hoynes, like, I think everyone would like you more if you moved on. It was 4 years ago.
Oh my God. Yeah, when his friends are like, why are we still talking about this?
Yeah.
Like, Josh left, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We need to move on. I can't have another dinner party where all we talk about is Josh Lyman. Again, impeccable take from you, Leigh. Impeccable take. What could a British or Irish politician never get away with?
I think potentially having quite an informed and emotionally sensitive conversation with someone about the struggles of their immigrant father.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think for me, from a more like frivolous perspective, it would be offering someone a job, then going back on it, and that person kind of being cool about that and not making it a scandal.
Oh, that is really real. Yeah,
because like
agreed.
if that happened in the UK, that person, Karen would be going straight to the press.
Yeah.
Did you have a best writerly moment?
Ooh, I am gonna have to say no zealot like a convert, Josh. Because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
I think for me, the the whippiest quip was, "You're the reason there are term limits."
Yeah,
which was great.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a shout out to, "Well, put on a helmet and pads and get in there."
Yeah.
With reference to the Women's Caucus.
Yeah.
Your man, I feel like a man.
There were so many this episode.
Honestly,
we were really on one as men, I feel. I think obviously there's the reference to fishing, which is very man. But maybe I might have to go for, she's a pistol from Toby with like a little twinkle in his eye.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would love to be described as a pistol. And I hate myself for that. But I do.
Yeah.
I think we have to reference go back to your sewing thing.
100% on the darker side
on the darker end of the scale. And then I also love, because it was a man, I feel like a man, but to another man. With the, it's our last chance to govern, John.
Mr. Vice President.
I loved that, frankly.
I love a man like pulling rank on another man.
Yeah. Do you know who I am? I had a very easy moment that made me proudest to be an American.
Yeah, it's non-negotiable.
It's okay to run away from me when you need to.
I would never, Mr. President. I simply would never do that.
God, I love Sam Seaborn so much.
I know. He's too pure for this world.
He's a treasure, you know?
Yeah.
You know when you have a friend, you're like, oh, they're such a treasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Leigh, that brings us to the learning corner.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different this week because I think it's impossible with the themes of this episode not to talk about what's currently going on. Now, we are not like an up-to-the-minute podcast. I think our listeners are aware that we record a couple of weeks in advance. So it's not like, we're not going to have the most up-to-date news about what's happening up to day of release. Yeah. But I do think it would also be irresponsible given the themes of this episode not to make reference to what's happening with the war with Iran.
Yeah.
Which I honestly can't believe that I'm saying out loud.
Yeah, honestly.
It just, I feel like we're in a Black Mirror episode. But for anyone who's looking for like a slight idiot's guide to what's going on right now, because even if you're like the most informed person on the planet, it is very difficult to get your head around the decisions that have been made and why they've been made by, frankly, Donald Trump in the last few months. So, Israel and the US being Israel's closest ally, have been at odds with Iran since the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Iranian leadership has consistently called for Israel's elimination and denounced the US as its greatest enemy. On February 28th, the United States and Israel attacked Iran and killed the Iranian Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who's led Iran since 1989. And his son was named as his successor on the 8th of March. The US-based group, Human Rights Activists in Iran, has reported on the 2nd of April that approximately 3,500 people have been killed in Iran since the war began, including 1,600 civilians, of whom at least 244 were children. And on Easter Sunday, Trump posted to Truth Social, "Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise to Allah." I don't even know what to say.
No.
About that. He then followed it up on Tuesday with another post saying, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will." And he set a 48-hour deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz shipping canal, which crucially was open before this war began. There was no issue with this vital shipping channel prior to the US attacking Iran. Access to Iran for international journalists is limited, and internet connection has been almost entirely restricted. But hours before the 48-hour deadline, a 2-week ceasefire was announced, which we are in at time of recording. After which Trump wrote, "The United States will work closely with Iran, which we have determined has gone through what will be a very productive regime change." Ezra Klein on his show, I think, summed it up pretty well, saying, "This is not the art of the deal. This is behavior that should trigger a wellness check." Also, I agree with several people for the first time ever, because Tucker Carlson has called it vile on every level, a war crime and a moral crime against the people of Iran. Megyn Kelly has called it completely irresponsible and disgusting. And Marjorie Taylor Greene called for the 25th Amendment and Trump's removal from office.
Did we ever think we'd see the day that happened?
She said what Trump was doing was evil and madness. Candace Owens called Trump a genocidal lunatic. So that's, in a nutshell, what's been going on. Obviously, there's just no way of... I don't feel that this podcast is a place to do justice to the long-standing history of relations between Iran and the US.
Yeah.
But I do think for my Iranian-American friends out there, it is important to highlight that in the decades since 1979, several million Iranians have fled and sought refuge in the US. The growth in the Iranian-American population was especially rapid in the 80s and 90s, which crucially, is when a lot of my friends were born, and were born to Irani parents in the US. Incidentally, Washington State, where I lived, is one of the states with a higher Iranian-American population. Iranian-Americans have a higher rate of US citizenship than other immigrant groups and are highly educated in comparison to the overall US population. As of 2024, there were 750,000 Iranian-Americans in the US, making up 0.2% of the population. In December 2025, ICE began deportation efforts against Iranian immigrants, which was a reversal of decades of policy since 1979 that has allowed Iranians fleeing political and religious persecution to remain in the US.
Yeah.
But before the war happened, The Trump administration reached an agreement with the Iranian government, despite a lack of a diplomatic relationship, to deport as many as 400 Iranians in ICE custody. At least 175 people were sent back on 3 different flights. And I did want to speak to specifically, because this is obviously Queer Gals Watch, specifically the story of a gay couple that arrived on the US border in El Paso, Texas in 2025. They've been given the pseudonyms Ali and Adele for their safety, but they fled Iran for Turkey in 2021 after being arrested by Iran's morality police, who'd opened a criminal investigation into their relationship. Same-sex activity is punishable by hanging in Iran. The couple eventually made their way from Turkey to Mexico to the US because, as we know, Turkey is also not a great place to be gay. They didn't have attorneys to help them through the process of applying for asylum, and only Ali and the couple speaks English. So they tried to explain their situation to an immigration judge, but their claim of asylum was denied in 2025 for falling short of the legal standard for asylum. They eventually found a lawyer to represent them, but it was while they were working on their appeal that the US struck the deportation deal with Iran. They are now being held in separate ICE detention centers. Ali is being detained in Arizona, where ICE has used subcontractors to send flights to Iran. And Adele is being held in an ICE facility in El Paso, Texas. ICE has been moving to shut down this facility because of reports of abuse, medical neglect, and many federal standards violations, according to the Washington Post. Their lawyer, Becca Wolf, who's the director of the Immigration Justice Campaign, said of Adele, he's incredibly frail to the point where he could no longer ambulate. He couldn't walk because of the pain. He had to have other detainees pick him up and carry him to the bathroom and to the shower, which was incredibly distressing. This was due to an attack that he sustained in Mexico before arriving in the US, but he hasn't been able to receive any medical attention while in an ICE facility. This attack has put him in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he's not an old man. I think he's in his 40s. Their lawyer, Becca Wolf, said, I have never had a case in my 10 plus years where I was so certain that they would be sent back to death.
Oh my goodness.
They are experiencing a sense of impunity by guards and ICE officials who don't have any kind of repercussions for small things like calling them names, outing them to other individuals in detention, things of that nature, which we did not see in previous administrations.
No.
Becca Wolf said, while we think there's an extremely strong evidence in support of these 2 men's asylum applications, the procedure of a regular court agreeing to review it is the hardest part right now. Deportation flights are currently paused, according to Becca Wolf, due to the war, but a White House official told Time that the Trump administration is, quote, using all lawful methods to carry out deportation operations of criminal illegal aliens, and declined to say when deportation flights to Iran would resume. According to the Deportation Data Project, ICE has arrested at least 432 Iranians in 2025, more than half of whom have never been convicted of a crime and were not facing any criminal charges when they were arrested. Among those who've been arrested are Reza Zavar, who's a 52-year-old Iranian man who's lived in the US for decades, who has a green card and was taken into custody while walking his dog. 38-year-old Mahdi Kazembadaza, who was detained by ICE while dropping his child off at daycare. And 64-year-old Donna Kashanian, who has lived in the US for 47 years and was arrested while tending to her garden. 64-year-old Kamyar Samimi died in ICE detention, as did 59-year-old Pejman Kashanas. The asylum approval rate for Iranians has fallen from 86% in January 2024 to 48% in 2026. There's many more stories of individuals who've been affected by this that we could go into. And I just can't imagine. And I can't believe that this is the timeline that we're living in.
Yeah, I think with these study sessions, we so often, Lee's like, oh, and this is what happened historically. And we can look back on things and go, oh my goodness, like what change has been made? And it feels very sobering to discuss like a current event and for the information that is happening to feel so alien.
Yeah.
It feels unbelievable what's happening at the moment, but we have to believe it and remain as informed as we all have capacity for.
Yeah.
The state of play is changing so quickly. It does sometimes feel like the weight of living in unprecedented times is a little bit too much. And so I completely understand needing to take a break from news apps or from staying updated. There's a lot happening right now. And so like, I think at moments like this, and I know that Leigh feels the same way, especially as an American citizen, like our thoughts are with all of our American listeners. I don't really know what to say, Leigh. I can't.
No, I think I just wanted to say that, and I was thinking about this a lot today as I was researching this. It's going to be difficult for me to say this without crying, but like when I was coming to the US as a child, and it was very exciting, but it was also very scary. And, you know, this place was and is so special to me, but it was a refugee who was one of my dad's kind of greatest work mentors, who had fled Syria decades before and had, you know, gone on to have this big career in the States. And he welcomed me and my mom to come and stay in his house for 2 weeks when I first moved to the US. And he was so sweet with me, getting me excited about living in America, you know, and wanting to really ease this transition of one of the members of his team bringing his wife and daughter over to this new country, and wanting to really, like, as his like employee's child, that he wanted me to be really excited about coming to the States, and you know, welcomed us into his home. And like, that is America to me, you know, is like, and I know that you know, that whole kind of bootstraps, pull yourself up by your bootstraps thing is more real to some people than it is to others because of like structural inequality. But the spirit of it should be that, you know, is that you can go from someone who's fleeing your country to someone who's then welcoming people to your new country and showing them why it's so great a couple of decades later.
Yeah.
And I think what I loved about this episode of The West Wing is that when we were talking about Iran and we did meet someone who was a child of an Iranian refugee, that person I felt was afforded a lot of dignity and humanity and individuality.
Yeah.
And I don't see any humanity in what's happening here.
No. I guess our way of like kind of coming to a close on this episode is I feel like I probably want to come back next week and no doubt find a little bit of comfort in something fictional.
Yeah.
Where the stakes aren't real. And so, Leigh, if you'd like to join me.
Yes.
And any of you, dear listeners, we'll be back here next week with more of the same nonsense if you need a moment of escape.
And I know that people normally come to this podcast for a moment of escape to talk about more kind of history than current events. But it did just feel like, as I say, it would be irresponsible not to address what's currently happening, given that we were talking about Iran in this episode.
Agreed.
We will be back next week, and hopefully we will be engaging with some more nostalgic material.
Yeah. We'll be here to discuss episode 10 of season 4 of The West Wing next week. Until then, if you do want to get in touch, we do love to hear from all of our listeners. So you can pop us an email, queergalswatch@gmail.com, or just, you know, contact us via our socials. We are at Queer Gals Watch.
Yes.
We also have a lovely Patreon. which we think is very fun. And there's some really great people there. So if you want to have a little look at what you could possibly get involved in, it's a fun space. We're really, really grateful to everyone who supports us on this podcast. Until then, Leigh, I'll catch you later.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.